Well, good morning everybody, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all fighting fit and well. Look, I've come down to the Lawson or North Lawson Waterfall Walk, and well, there's a South Lawson Waterfall Walk and a North Lawson Waterfall Walk here in the mountains. Welcome to my backyard. The last 3 days we've had over 85 millimetres of rain, good constant rain. I'm currently standing at Fairy Falls, and there's a series of falls here which I'm going to try and photograph today before the light starts to play havoc here. Now these waterfalls only work after good decent rain, and as you've just seen in the bit of the video just before this, how well they're working. I hope you can hear me, but basically these falls are just absolutely beautiful. The Fairy Falls, and I'll turn the camera around again in a moment, the Fairy Falls have this rustic rock in front of them, and I've got to say it's a beautiful scene here, and it's a bit cold too, but I know for a fact that these falls are fairly easy to get to, so I think within the next couple of hours there could be some people here just having a look, which is fair enough. So I'm going to take a few images. I found a few compositions here that I'm happy with. The only problem I have, and there's always problems, I have these ferns here, as you can see here. They're slightly moving in the breeze, so to keep my shutter speed down I might get blurs in these branches. So what I might have to do, I might just have to do a bit of photo stacking and just see how I go, see if I can control the movement of these trees but still maintain that shutter speed to get some blur in this water. But what a magnificent place. This is the North Lawson Waterfall Walk. If you're in Sydney, it's worth coming up here. I'm fortunate enough to live here, quite frankly, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Wasn't all that much of an early start, so it wasn't idiot time, so I got here about 6 o'clock. The track leading up here is quite muddy, but I've got the Boggs boots on and still trialling these, but I'll take a few shots and then I'll explain to you what I'm doing, and then we'll move down to Dante's Glen. That's the next fall, no relation. It's Dante's Glen, that's what they call it, and it's a really nice part of Lawson, especially in the waterfalls here. So I'll set the camera up and I'll explain to you how I'm going to shoot this particular scene. Okay, I've framed up the first shot, and I've put the Nissy circular polarizer on just to get rid of that sheen, or to bring out the gold in these, or the goldy rusty colour in the rocks over here. Plus also to highlight the green fernry here. It's quite funny, this location. Up the top here, it's just like normal Aussie bush. But when you come down into here, it's like a rainforest. It's just so diverse here. It's an incredible place. So the first shot is, it's a straight on shot. I'm shooting at 20 millimetre. This is a fairly wide angle sort of area to encompass all that over there, as you can see. Yeah, basically that'll be probably about the shot I'll take here, and then we'll move down to Danny Falls. I'm currently at around about 8 seconds, and that's about as much as I want. I don't want to lose that definition in the water. Circular polarizer, I'm shooting at ISO 50. I always shoot low ISO. Just looked at the histogram's pretty good. No clipping to the left or the right, and that's the main thing with histograms. So always look at the histogram, don't clip to the left, meaning your highlights or your darks are dark, and then to the right is white, and you could be possibly blowing out your highlights. So always get that histogram sort of like in the middle. Basically not too bad. I'll take this shot, but there's also a lot of spray here because I'm fairly close. It doesn't look like I'm all that close, but I'm fairly close here, so I'm using the cloth just to wipe the front of the lens or the polarizer. So we'll take this shot and we'll see how we go. Okay, I just had a thought here. I thought I'd lower the camera down, because the reason why I wanted to do that is I have this little rock ledge just here and there's a little bit of water flowing over in the bottom left hand of the frame, which I think is going to be quite nice. Currently shooting at 20mm again, but I've dropped the tripod down, and I think this is going to be a really nice shot, because I've got all that layered element, and I always talk about looking for layers in your images with your photography, especially waterfalls. I mean, there is a bit of foreground element here which I'm going to use in this shot, and that's why I brought the camera down low. Now, I always manual focus, and I always shoot in manual. I don't use any other program. Sometimes I might use aperture priority, but in this case, low light, we have water movement here. I need to control everything. I also use the live view here on the back of the camera. I focus in to 100%, and then I manual focus. That way I know my focus is pin sharp. I'm currently at f13. Now, I've left the ISO where it is. My exposure time now is 10 seconds, and that's pretty good. And I can adjust that by using the circular polarizer. I can decrease the polarization, which will change the shutter speed for me, but I don't want to lose the definition in the water and the greenery that's around it. I'm using this as a natural frame. As I said in past videos, try and look for the elements that are going to help the image. Even though I'm shooting head on into this, and it's probably the only way I can do this, I've had to encompass all this foreground. And by shooting wide, I'm enabling myself to actually capture that image. So we'll take this one. On a 2-second timer. Always shooting in RAW. But what a nice place. I don't know whether you can see it in the video or not, but behind the water coming down, there's all these ferns, and I hope in post-edit that I can bring the colour out through the water. I think I might be able to do that. Okay, I've got the camera down extremely low now because I just found another composition. This is what I'm saying about looking for composition. You think you found something and you take that shot, but after that, have another look around. Just keep on looking and trying to get different angles, because we're living with photography these days. The market, or the internet, is saturated with images, and so how do you make your images look different to everyone else? Well, by doing what I'm doing here, hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll get the shot that probably no one else has ever thought of taking here. Now, I'm using the Benro tripod, and by the way, I'll be doing a review on this Benro tripod at the end of this video. Great piece of kit, this. But I've got the camera down really low, because in front here, I've got 3 rock shells. When I was standing up high, I could only really see 2, but by getting down low and changing the perspective, I've seen 3 rock shelves here. It's amazing how you miss things, you know. Through all the excitement of seeing a waterfall like this, you tend to forget what's around you. So we've got a bit of mist and fog coming over, so hopefully down at Danny's then it might be all right. But I'll take this shot. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm going to expose to the right, expose to the right, E to the R. So I'm going to go one stop overexposed, because I've still got this sky I'm trying to deal with. So I'd rather bring down the highlights in post than try and recover the shadows, because it just doesn't work. So I'm using exposed to the right technique here, which is pretty good. If you don't know what that is, there's plenty of videos on YouTube about it. I've done one actually. But exposing to the right is a technique that I think everybody should know, especially if you're into this style of photography. So we'll have a look at this. Right, I've exposed one stop over. So when I put it into post-edit on the computer, it looked like it was slightly overexposed, but I can bring that back. It's very hard to get detail out of shadow without destroying the actual file. So, and looking at that, fantastic. And that was just one stop overexposed. So that's what we call exposing to the right. Time to move, I think. Well, we made it to Danny's Glen, and massive walk down. It's going to be a massive walk up, but by geez, what a sight. Behind me here you can actually see the waterfall. Then we've got this massive tree, this tree trunk that's come down many years ago running this way. Now, is that going to cause a problem in the image? Probably yes. I could possibly clone it out in Photoshop, or I could leave it and use it as a leading line, because just over there is probably where I'll have to take this shot. Now we're in a deep ravine here and everything's wet. The moisture is on everything. One free tip: if you've got a camera bag and you've got a rain cover and you come into a place like this, make sure it's on. If you don't, bring a plastic garbage bag with you and lay that on the ground, and lay your bag on top. Just stops the moisture and stops dirt, and plus dirt getting in your car when you get back up the top. But there's lots of composition here. I'll probably be here probably about an hour and a half, I should imagine. We've got this little footbridge which you've just seen. To the right or to the left of that, we've got this where it runs back down into Fairies Falls. But this is Dante Glen, and I've never been here. Seriously, I live in this area, but I've never been here. But what a place. I mean, you've got to come here if you're in Sydney to have a look at this. This is pretty spectacular. I'm wearing the Bogs boots, and they're working wonders here because everything's underwater. It's muddy, it's slushy, because we've had a lot of rain in the last 3 days. But I'll set up and I'll show you exactly what I'm doing and how to photograph this magnificent location we call Dante's Glen. Let's go. Okay, so basically, as you can see, I've come up here. I've had to walk across the water there, just below my knees actually. Thank God for the bogs boots. Everything's wet here, everything's getting drenched, but what a sight. I'm going to leave this log in this section of the photo, or the image, just going to lead as a leading line. I'll see how I go with it, but I'll take this shot and then we'll have to move out of here because it's very wet here. So we'll take the shot. Currently at F11, and I've got a 15-second exposure, which should be all right. On manual focus, I'll bring it out and we'll take the shot. Unbelievable. If you're going to get very serious about your waterfall photography, you're going to have to get in the water. There's no doubt about it. To get the shots, you have to get in the water. So I suggest get yourself a good pair of waterproof boots and get in there and start taking these images. Really, it's the only way to go. So eventually, if you persevere with your waterfall photography, you will be getting in the water. Really nice shot. Fantastic. Might take another one. Take another one, see how we go. The Canon cameras are weather resistant, so are the lenses, thank goodness for that. But I've got the whole place to myself. Just amazing, amazing place this. There's the image there. Pretty good. Time to go. Okay, I'm actually standing in the water. I'm about, I don't know whether you can see it or not, but I'm just below my knees in water, and the bogs boots are working outstanding. What a great set of boots these things are. As I said, if you're serious about your waterfall photography, eventually you're going to have to get in the water. To get this shot, I've got to get in the water. So I'm going to frame it up. What we have here, F11, 10-second exposure, ISO 50. Fantastic. I'll take another one. Get the focusing right. I'm actually using this log, as you've seen in the video earlier, as a leading line leading up to the waterfall. There's a couple more shots I can take down there, but this is the only way to do this shot. You have to get in the water. Both tripods are in the water. The video camera tripod's in the water. The Benro's in the water. Everything's in the water. Everything's wet. But we're having a great time. So, great image. Fantastic. I can't wait to see it. The final product when I do the post edit. So I'll get back over there on dry land, wipe everything down, and then behind me here there's just the runoff from this down there, some really nice composition. Get down low, long exposures, which I love, and get into it. What a place, what a morning. Well guys, that's it. That's another episode of Sniper Photography here in the beautiful Blue Mountains. And by geez, it was a bit of a walk out. It was, I think they rated a grade 3 walk out. The elevation was 790 metres straight up. So I am feeling the pinch now. I must admit to you there, but it was worth it. It's a case of, as I said earlier, living in a world where we're oversaturated with photos and images. What do you have to do to create images that, you know, people don't create. Well, basically what I think you have to do is to leave the shore and swim out into deep water and take that little bit of a gamble, a little bit of a risk. Get off the beaten track like I did here this morning, and as I said, the most difficult places are always the best to photograph, and here this morning at Dante's Glen and Fairy Falls, well, I must admit that fits the bill perfectly, or it fits that saying, the more difficult the places are, the more photogenic they tend to be, and not many people turn up there. A few bushwalkers through here, a few runners, but other than that, I was the only one down there with a camera. So it's basically get out of your comfort zone and really push yourself. Get into the water. I can't stress that enough, with safety, of course. Get into the water and take those beautiful waterfall shots that you can obtain by being right up close and right into it. But other than that, it's been a pretty good morning. I'll put the images at the end of this video. If you've got any comments or any remarks, please put them in the drop box below. If you're new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button and the bell next door so you don't miss anything. But that's it for another episode of Sniper Photography. I'm Glenn Samuel, and as I always say, be nice to yourself, family and friends, but most of all, you keep shooting and keep smiling. Bye for now.